Alright, my friends, I wonder if you can hear me. What we're doing is we're going to go on a little trail ride here, and we are going to just see what we can find. I'm trying to map out some things for some bike trips and some tours and all that happy goodness that the outdoors has to offer. Why do I have this on, and why are we riding through the trails? Hey, I like to decompress by getting outside, by being in the gym, and by being physically fit. And I saw something this morning on the good old YouTube messages that said all alcoholics should be put on an island and try to find unexploded ordnance. And I thought, wow, that's a very general statement. I should probably read the whole thing. And as I started reading, you know what, I was a bit put off. And I wasn't put off because the person wrote this. I was put off because, you know, most of it is true. All good. And what I found about that is that the gentleman who wrote it had been in a 30-year marriage with an alcoholic, and he wasn't certain that she was an alcoholic, and I could be wrong. I'm just trying to remember it, but she was an alcoholic, and she wasted all the money, she lied a lot, she cheated, and on that story goes. Because most of us, we've been there. If you've lived with an alcoholic, we've been there to where life is unbearable, life is unpredictable. Heck, I was the alcoholic, and I even know that. I mean, like I told you guys before, I used to play Russian roulette at the daggone ATM with my wife to see who was gonna get the money that day. And you know what? Unfortunately, most times it was me. And so, as I was reading, and this person is definitely jaded, which is valid. However, comma pause for this effect, we do have the capacity to change if indeed we really get to that breaking point to where we know that the alcohol is not going to fix us anymore. The alcohol is not going to be the daggone answer for what we need. You know what I mean? Oh, we're going down. All right, we're gonna flip this back around. I got going with a little bit of awesome speed. All right, this path actually goes somewhere pretty cool. Okay, so as I was saying, we do have the capacity to make changes, and we do have the ability to work on our character defects to where not only are we accountable for what happened during our alcoholism or during our addiction, we became willing to make amends to everybody that we had harmed where possible in our drinking history or using history. And that's a hard thing to understand, is that we can change, especially from someone who had been on the receiving end of our insanity. Now, I can see the apprehension, and I can understand the apprehension to not wanting to take the hopefully sincere apology of the alcoholic or addict, but to be able to forgive those trespasses and those actions that led you towards the resentment and towards the hate that you feel for the alcoholic or the addict. I myself still live with my spouse, my wife, And we are still separate to some degree inside. And that is because of my selfish behavior as an alcoholic, taking from the bank every opportunity I got, lying to her, cheating on her, and it was all alcohol driven, but the motivation for those actions, regardless of if they were positive or negative, most times negative, was that I wasn't happy being who I was. I wasn't happy with the life that I've been dealt. And so I carried all of that disconcern and frustration into my adulthood, which fueled my alcoholism. And if you can relate to that, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. See, when I get out here, I'm able to think a little more clearly, and I'm able to, hopefully, you can hear me. But, so it brings me back to this. The person who wrote the message this morning is very angry with his ex-wife and very frustrated that she gets to still go on and do her daggone thing. Now my wife, bless her heart, which way should we go, folks? Let's go this way. Bless her heart. She's upset with me. And she's angry still about the things that happened while we were together when I was drinking. And I don't blame her. You know, I did a lot of crazy stuff. I did a lot of things I can't take back. But what I can do, and the person who wrote the message thinks it's impossible, or rather that we don't want to, is to make a living amends. And I know that not every alcoholic is going to get to the point where they have the capacity and they're in the right frame of mind in order to make those amends sincerely. Because I know for a certain fact, I said, baby, I'm sorry. That's never gonna happen again. And she can call my BS in 3.8 seconds. So we have to get to a place where we're sincere about making amends, where we're sincere about creating that change in our lives when the alcohol doesn't work. Because for sure, that alcohol was great in the beginning and even in the middle. Sometimes in between, it did the thing I wanted it to do. It stopped me from being afraid. It stopped me from having no courage. It helped me talk to women. It helped me be more assertive. But to what degree? And what was really, what was the alcohol? Oh, crap. Everything was the alcohol. 23 years of my life, believe it or not, folks, I cannot remember. I remember bits and pieces, but I don't remember my fucking life, and that's frustrating. So, where am I going with this? The man who wrote the message, who is angry and frustrated, and is very upset with all alcoholics, regardless of where we're at in our recovery, or where we're at in our lives, and what changes we've made or not made. He's angry all the same, regardless of if somebody's recovered, regardless if somebody has improved their lives. I haven't drank for 8 years, folks. 8 years. And I'm not tooting my daggone horn, but daggone it, I'm doing something right. I do it through the help of you guys. I do it through being with people who are like me, who are trying to better their lives without alcohol in it. And we do that one single daggone day at a time, friends. And I know that seeing this little trail might not be your idea of a video, but let me tell you, this is absolutely awesome. I love being out here. Today is a semi-work day because we don't have power in our building. And I said, you know what I want to do, boss? I want to go scout out some trails, and I want to go plot some things out to where we can maybe program this for future trips. My boss was like, you go ahead, you do the daggone thing, Wayne. Because we got 3 other folks out on trips right now, and I'm not on one this time, so I wanted to use this time wisely. Why do I even tell you that, man? I tell you that because I could have sat at home. I could have pretended I was on a computer doing daggone government work and all that goodness, but I'd rather be out here. And when I was drinking, and this goes back to the original message, when I was drinking, I wouldn't have even bothered coming out here. Look at this, folks. Can you see this? Let me see. This is a little lake I just found. Am I getting that? Maybe. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna see if I can get a better angle. All right, so there was so many things that I missed out in my active alcoholism. So much of life. So much of life. Is that it right there? I got my GoPro on today, guys, which is why you don't see me. But so much of life I missed out on when I was drinking. And I think that it was all to get me to the point where I'm at right now. Timberwolf puts it perfect, is that we have to live each moment as it is. And Jesse from Second Chance Recovery always puts it in a good way, is to do the little things, is to be a part of the little things in your life, and everything comes together. And I just think those sentiments are spectacular. And I think that we owe it to ourselves to be a part of our lives. And to the man who is upset with his ex-wife, you are now unfortunately at a place where that baggage remains, where perhaps you haven't dealt with the trauma that you've experienced. Now, that is not a cop, and that's not an excuse, my friends. That's the reality. I've made the changes in my life to be a better version of myself. And unfortunately, I have caused trauma to my wife, but she has to deal with that the best way that she can. And perhaps therapy would help, perhaps counseling, because I know those things help me. Unfortunately, we were 2 people in the situation that I caused, but both of us were affected differently. So that takes 2 separate kinds of ways to deal with those problems and to deal with those changes and to deal with those significant events that have shaped who we are today. My friends, I'm not mad at the person who posted that message this morning. I'm grateful for it because it allowed me to reflect, just like this lake, and to be able to see an image of myself that I have perhaps forgotten. My friends, life is a daggone garden. I'm telling you it is. Only because I see it every single day. And folks, grab on to the parts in your life that bring you joy and that bring you fulfillment, and know that you don't have to do it with alcohol and you don't have to do it with drugs. My man, this is the last statement, friends. My man at Daniels in Recovery used to be Veterans with Anxiety. He's in it right now, folks. He's in it. He's upset. He's lost. And I just want you guys to throw him some love. Daniel's in recovery. Check him out on YouTube. And don't get off put by him being in a certain state right now, because some significant life events have placed him back to where he left. And we need to help get him there again, if he's willing. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video of me strolling through the woods and enjoying life as it is. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.